This story will change your life forever. In the pouring rain, a humble black teenager stops to help a stranded millionaire with a flat tire, without knowing who he was, expecting nothing in return. The next morning, a luxury SUV pulls up to his modest home. What happens next will bring tears to your eyes. The power of one simple act of kindness can transform not just a life, but an entire community. This true story proves that a person's real worth isn't measured by what they have, but by what they give to others. Like and subscribe to witness this incredible journey that's touching millions of hearts worldwide. Keep watching to discover how a flat tire changed a family's destiny forever. Thunder cracked across Chicago's South Side as Marcus Johnson rushed home from his grocery store job. Rain poured down, soaking through his worn sneakers. That's when he saw it. A sleek black Mercedes pulled over, hazard lights flashing in the darkness. Most people would have hurried past. Not Marcus. His mother raised him different. The car door opened and James Winchester III stepped out, though Marcus didn't know he was facing one of Chicago's wealthiest men. All he saw was someone who needed help. "Car trouble, sir," Marcus called through the rain. Winchester stood there in his expensive suit, already drenched. "Flat tire," he admitted. "My phone's dead and I've never actually changed one before." "I can help with that," Marcus smiled. "My uncle's a mechanic." For the next 30 minutes, Marcus worked in the downpour. He refused Winchester's offer to hold an umbrella. Instead, he taught the CEO each step of the process, treating him like any neighbor who needed help. As Marcus worked, he talked about his life, his dreams of becoming an engineer, his mother working double shifts at the hospital, how they scraped by since his father passed. Not complaining, just sharing. When the job was done, Winchester reached for his wallet. Marcus stopped him. "No need, sir. Mom always says helping others is its own reward." Before Winchester could insist, Marcus disappeared into the rain. In his 20 years running Winchester Technologies, James Winchester III had forgotten what genuine kindness looked like. Everyone wanted something from him. But here was this kid, soaked to the bone, helping a stranger and refusing payment. That night changed both their lives. In his penthouse office, Winchester couldn't sleep. He kept seeing Marcus's bright smile, hearing his stories about the neighborhood, about kids with dreams but no opportunities, about a community that looked out for each other despite having so little. What Marcus didn't know, walking home with squeaking shoes that night, was that he'd sparked something in Winchester's heart, something that would change not just his life, but his entire community. Winchester made calls until dawn. He had his team dig up everything they could about Marcus, his neighborhood, the local schools. He discovered a community rich in spirit, but starved for resources, kids with brilliant minds but no way to reach their potential. Marcus finally reached his small apartment, where his mom left him their last box of cereal for breakfast. Tomorrow was just another school day, another shift at the store. He had no idea that a black SUV was about to pull up to his door. He didn't know that his simple act of kindness had awakened something in a billionaire's heart, something that would create ripples of change through generations. Because sometimes the biggest miracles start with the smallest acts of kindness. And Marcus Johnson's flat tire was about to become the neighborhood's turning point. That rainy night was just the beginning. Dawn would bring changes bigger than anyone could imagine. But the real miracle wasn't in the money or opportunities that would follow. The real miracle was that a teenager who had every reason to be bitter about life's unfairness chose kindness instead. And that choice was about to transform an entire community. The next morning started like any other. Marcus ate the last of their cereal, grabbed his backpack, and headed for the bus stop. That's when he heard it, the rumble of a powerful engine that made neighbors peek through their curtains. A black Cadillac Escalade pulled up. James Winchester stepped out, followed by men in suits carrying briefcases. Marcus froze. His mother, called home from her hospital shift, rushed outside still wearing her nurse's aide uniform. "Marcus," Winchester called out, "what you did last night, it made me realize something. I've gotten so caught up in making money, I forgot why I started my company, to make a difference." Winchester laid out his plan. Not just a scholarship for Marcus, but a complete transformation for the neighborhood, a new community center, technical training programs, jobs, opportunities. "Sir, this is incredible," Marcus said. "But there are so many talented kids here who just need a chance. Could we help them too?" Winchester smiled. "That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say." He revealed the Winchester-Johnson Community Initiative, named after both of them. 10 full scholarships every year, job training, mentorship programs, neighbors gathered watching their lives change in real time. Kids who'd given up on dreams suddenly saw possibilities. Parents who'd worked themselves to exhaustion saw hope. Maria Johnson pulled Winchester aside. "Why?" she asked, voice shaking. "Why do all this?" Winchester looked at Marcus, already planning with the foundation team. "Because your son showed me something I'd forgotten, that true wealth isn't what you keep, it's what you give away." News crews arrived as word spread, but Marcus stayed humble. He still planned to work his grocery store shift that afternoon. "Someone might need help," he smiled. The center would help thousands. But perhaps the biggest change was in Winchester himself. Through Marcus's simple act of kindness, he'd rediscovered his own humanity. That morning showed everyone that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can unlock the biggest miracles. As the lawyers drew up papers, as neighbors hugged and cried, as dreams suddenly became possible, one truth became clear. The real power of giving isn't in the size of the gift, it's in the size of the heart behind it. And Marcus Johnson's heart was about to transform an entire community. Local kids watched wide-eyed as Marcus, still in his worn jeans and faded t-shirt, stood beside a billionaire, planning their future. They learned that greatness isn't about what you own, but what you're willing to give. Winchester learned that sometimes the best investments aren't made in the stock market, but in human potential. In the days that followed, he'd spend more time in that neighborhood than his corporate office. And Marcus, he just kept being Marcus, humble, kind, always ready to help. But now his simple act of kindness would ripple through generations, changing lives in ways he never imagined. Because sometimes all it takes is one person choosing kindness over indifference, one moment of genuine humanity, one flat tire on a rainy night. The transformation was just beginning, but the lesson was already clear. When kindness meets opportunity, miracles happen. And in Chicago's South Side, a miracle was unfolding, one changed life at a time. 3 months later, the Winchester-Johnson Community Center buzzed with activity. The old warehouse had transformed into a beacon of hope. Marcus balanced his straight-A grades with mentoring younger students. His MIT acceptance letter hung on the wall, inspiring others to dream big. Winchester spent more time in the neighborhood than his office. The corporate titan who once counted success in dollars now measured it in changed lives. He discovered what Marcus had always known. The neighborhood wasn't poor in talent, just in opportunities. Sarah Martinez, a shy 15-year-old, created an app connecting elderly residents with volunteer helpers. James Thompson, an ex-gang member, now taught automotive classes, turning his past mistakes into lessons for others. Then came David Chen's story. Marcus found him sleeping behind the center, a former engineer destroyed by addiction. Instead of calling the police, Marcus shared his lunch and listened. 3 months later, Chen was clean and teaching advanced math at the center. Maria Johnson watched her son with pride. His simple act of changing a tire had started a movement. The grocery store where he still worked part-time became a job training hub. Other companies followed, bringing opportunities to the neighborhood. National media caught the story, not because of the money invested, but because of the lives transformed. Other cities started similar programs. Marcus's kindness had created a ripple effect nobody expected. One evening, Winchester confessed to Marcus, "That night, with the flat tire, I was planning to sell the company. Success had made me forget why I started, to make a difference. You reminded me that true success isn't what you gain, but what you give." The center became more than a building. It became proof that one person's kindness could change thousands of lives. Students who once saw no future now dreamed of college. Parents who worked endless shifts saw their children reaching for the stars. Every success story started the same way, with someone believing in them. Just like Marcus believed in helping a stranger on a rainy night. Just like Winchester believed in giving back to a community that taught him the true meaning of wealth. The neighborhood's transformation wasn't just about money. It was about dignity restored, hope renewed, dreams awakened. Every day, someone new walked through the center's doors, carrying burdens they thought they'd bear forever. They left carrying possibilities instead. Winchester learned that real leadership wasn't about boardroom decisions, but about touching lives. Marcus learned that sometimes the smallest choices have the biggest impact. And everyone learned that true wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in the capacity to help others. The story of the flat tire became legend, not because it led to millions in investment, but because it proved something vital. Every person has the power to change lives through simple acts of kindness. The size of your wallet doesn't matter nearly as much as the size of your heart. As Marcus prepared for MIT, he knew his greatest achievement wasn't the scholarship or the programs. It was proving that when kindness meets opportunity, entire communities can transform. That sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest choices. The center's success wasn't measured in dollars, but in lives changed, dreams rekindled, and hope restored. It proved that true transformation doesn't require massive resources, just one person willing to stop and help on a rainy night. And in a city known for its divisions, a simple act of kindness had built bridges no one thought possible. Because sometimes the most powerful changes don't come from grand plans or big announcements. They come from one person choosing to care when they don't have to. 1 year into their success, crisis struck. A major newspaper published an expose claiming the entire program was a tax scam. The article questioned Winchester's motives and Marcus's character. Social media exploded with accusations. The impact was immediate. Corporate partners pulled out. Center attendance dropped. Even Marcus's childhood friends started doubting him. The pressure mounted as he juggled his MIT studies with defending the program's integrity. But Marcus didn't hide. Instead, he invited the skeptical reporter Patricia Chen to spend a week at the center. "We have nothing to hide," he said. "Come see for yourself." Chen arrived hunting for corruption. She found transformation instead. She watched Marcus skip meals to tutor students between MIT classes. She saw Winchester personally mentoring former gang members. Every dollar was accounted for, every decision transparent. The turning point came at a community meeting Marcus organized. Instead of defending himself, he let the community speak. For hours, people shared their stories. Sarah Martinez, now headed to Stanford, described discovering her worth. James Thompson explained how the program helped him leave gang life. David Chen, the former homeless engineer, moved everyone to tears with his story of redemption. Chen's new article went viral. The Real Deal: How Authentic Kindness is Rebuilding a Community. It didn't just clear Marcus's name, it sparked a national conversation about genuine corporate responsibility. The crisis revealed something powerful. True kindness doesn't need defending. It proves itself through changed lives. Corporate partners didn't just return, new ones joined. The program expanded to 3 more neighborhoods. One evening, Winchester asked Marcus why he never got angry about the false accusations. Marcus's answer was simple. You can't fight darkness with darkness. The only way to prove your light is real is to keep shining. The investigation had tested their character and taught a vital lesson. Real change isn't about grand gestures or money. It's about maintaining integrity even when questioned, about letting actions speak louder than words. Students who'd left during the scandal returned, many bringing friends. The center's work continued, stronger for having weathered the storm. Marcus's reputation for integrity became legendary. The crisis taught everyone something valuable. True transformation isn't just about successful programs. It's about building character that can withstand any challenge. About staying true to your principles when it would be easier to give up. Winchester learned that real leadership means standing firm when things get tough. Marcus learned that sometimes your biggest critics become your strongest supporters once they see the truth. The community learned that genuine change doesn't happen without opposition, that anything worth building will face challenges. But if your foundation is built on authentic kindness, no storm can shake it. As enrollment numbers surpassed pre-crisis levels, as success stories multiplied, as other cities studied their model, one truth became clear. Sometimes your greatest victories come disguised as your biggest challenges. The story of how they weathered the storm became as inspiring as the original flat tire story. It proved that true kindness doesn't just create change, it sustains it. That integrity isn't just about doing good things, but about standing by them when times get tough. 5 years after that rainy night, Marcus stood on MIT's graduation stage receiving his master's in engineering with honors. The real celebration wasn't his academic success, it was what he'd helped build back home. The Winchester Johnson Initiative had spread to 50 cities. Their Chicago center had become a model studied worldwide. Over 5,000 students had received scholarships. Crime rates plummeted, employment soared, but numbers couldn't capture the real impact. Restored hope, renewed dignity, rebuilt lives. Winchester had transformed too. The once isolated billionaire now spent most days mentoring young entrepreneurs from struggling neighborhoods. His board meetings happened in community centers, not corporate offices. Winchester Technologies became known for redefining corporate responsibility. At Marcus's graduation ceremony, familiar faces filled the audience. David Chen, once homeless, now the center's STEM director, sat proudly. Sarah Martinez, running her own tech company, watched with tears. James Thompson brought a busload of his automotive students to witness history. Marcus's valedictorian speech silenced the hall. 5 years ago, I changed a flat tire. But that tire wasn't the only thing that needed changing. Our communities needed change. Our systems needed change. Our understanding of success needed change. Today, I stand here not as a success story, but as proof that when we lift others, we all rise. Back at the original center, hundreds gathered to watch the ceremony live. Among them, a young boy who'd started tutoring kids in math, inspired by Marcus's story. The cycle of kindness continued. That evening, Marcus and Winchester spotted a student with a flat tire. Without hesitation, both men, still in graduation suits, stopped to help. The amazed student asked why a famous billionaire and MIT's valedictorian would stop. Marcus's answer captured their journey, because true success isn't measured by how high you climb, but by how many people you lift up along the way. Their story became more than inspiration. It became a movement. It proved that kindness, when paired with opportunity and commitment, could transform not just lives, but entire communities. Driving back to Chicago, Marcus passed the spot where it all began. Rain fell, just like that night 5 years ago. But now the rain didn't symbolize hardship. It represented growth, renewal, and the endless possibilities that spring from one simple act of kindness. The center's impact extended far beyond its walls. Local businesses thrived, crime rates hit historic lows, college acceptance rates soared. But the most profound change was in people's minds. They no longer saw themselves as victims of circumstance, but as agents of change. Every success story had its own flavor. A single mother becoming a software engineer, a former dropout returning to mentor others, each one proving that opportunity combined with determination could break any cycle of poverty. The program's graduates didn't just succeed, they came back to help others succeed. They started businesses in the neighborhood, they hired locally, they mentored the next generation. The ripple effect kept growing, touching lives far beyond Chicago. Winchester's corporate philosophy changed too. His company became known for investing in people, not just profits. Other corporations followed suit, creating similar programs in their communities. The model of compassionate capitalism spread nationwide. But perhaps the most beautiful part was how ordinary the extraordinary had become. Helping others wasn't just a special event anymore. It was woven into the community's DNA. Every day, someone helped someone else, creating endless ripples of positive change. Marcus's legacy wasn't just in the buildings or programs he helped create. It was in proving that one person's choice to be kind, even when they had every reason not to be, could spark a revolution of goodness that would echo through generations.